Good morning, pregame crew. It is Monday, March 13th, 2023, 8:22 a.m. Eastern, 6:22 a.m. Mountain Time. Good morning. Audio visual check, please. Good morning, Andre, Mighty, Jarislaw. Hey, Nugget, Joseph, Chris, Papa, or Popa, Homebody, Keith, Casey. Hi, Hammer, thanks. Hey, Dove, Ed, Basque. Carlos, Andre, hi. Lori, I'm going to just push you a little bit on one of your statements. I'm telling myself, take a deep breath, make sure you trade A-plus setups and check yourself. All good things to tell yourself. But I would also add, you don't have to trade at all. If you're a retail trader and you're not at a prop desk, you don't have to trade. So just remind yourself of that. Yes, only take A-plus setups, but also you don't have to trade. With VIX this high, there's lots of volatility, there's lots of fear, there's lots of emotions. It is hard to remain level-headed if you've been inconsistently profitable as of late. So just remind yourself you don't have to trade at all. I'm assuming y'all can hear me. If someone can just give me a thumbs up, you can hear me. Hey, Jessica, Griffin, Topher, Tim. Oh, there's Tim. He said AB's good. Awesome. Hey, Tess. Yep, CPI tomorrow. Biden should be speaking at, I'm hearing 9 a.m. or 9:15 Eastern on the banking situation. I'm assuming attempting to reestablish order and confidence in the financial system. So we'll see how that goes. I'm open to all outcomes, all possibilities, all probabilities. So can we just look and have the feels? I don't know what that means, homebody. Hey, First Radio, Card Lady, what up? Hey, Matthew, let me go back up. Are there any chart requests? Chris, I'm so glad you liked the book. I love the book. I think Annie Duke is ridiculously intelligent. So very interesting. The way that she thinks, of course, are ways I've never thought of. I like being pushed to think outside the box. If I'm too close to the mic, let me know. I switched out my mic. Okay, I'm not seeing a chart request yet. AGQ, my first rodeo. Okay. Are you in GQ? The magazine on the cover? Just kidding. Okay, silver. I saw that silver was popping earlier. Silver has a potential daily inverse head and shoulders pattern developing. This is early. Let's start there, and then we'll go back to your ticker. So you can see the silver is bouncing. This is what I was watching last week. I mentioned it to y'all. I at least mentioned it to the midday crowd at TCG. And we could be forming the head. We'll see 21395. We have a double top of that level right now at 2140. We'll see if we recoil and pull back. Bulls are going to want to see that retrace to be very shallow in order for that to be a potential inverse head and shoulders. Now let's look at your GQ. Silver, you are kind. Lots of people would beg to differ. Like my ex-husbands. My voice probably annoys the hell out of them. Okay, we have a lower wick of bulls buying the dip last week. That was a decent close. We just saw that silver's bouncing. We're stuck under the daily 8 EMA, but it looks like we'll be clearing that once we open. $23.10 was that resistance. $23.54. We're clearing that as well. Looks bullish to me. I would look for the first 5-minute oversold. For a potential long, if you don't already have a long, it looks super healthy right now. Definitely stronger than most of the names we're looking at. Thanks, Matthew. Thanks, Silver. Hey, Sarana. Do you want Schwab or SCWB? Or you want SCHW? Do you want Schwab, I'm assuming? It's down this morning with the rest of the banks. If you want something else, let me know, Topher. They closed daily oversold last week, so it looks like the brokerage houses are getting hit a little bit harder than banks. This morning, I noticed that Schwab was down more than the other bigger banks, however, not down as much as regional banks, of course. Weekly approaching oversold. Monthly lost support, so The oversold means a lot less. And of course, this is all news related. So RSI, and just if you need to write that down to remind yourself, write it down. RSI means less when it's news related. These oversold areas mean less because they can get beat up a lot further, can go down a lot farther than you think they can go. So just remind yourself of that. Oh, perfect. Okay. Okay, that is SCHW for Topher. Gotcha. 4 hour, again, oversold, doesn't mean as much. It looks like a major overreaction in my opinion. So we'll see if bulls can hold this low. If the market could get a bounce on Biden comments, I would anticipate for banks to bounce. This 44.01, pretty far down there. So I would assume a 15-minute higher low on a pullback. There's going to be lots of volatility today. There's going to be lots of opportunity. I have missed 2 opportunities I was looking for because toss locked up on me and I got frustrated, and I have to remind myself, hey, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long week. Plenty of opportunities. So just stay relaxed and in the pocket and let the trade come to you. Oh, good. You can hear that there's a new mic. Okay, good. I'm glad it's working. Hey, Ponzi Zombie. Makes sense, homebody. Hey, Bobo. You're welcome. Hey, Sir Fernando. Lots of Schwab rumor fears. Sounds about right. Exactly, homebody. You got it. You got it. 2 minutes. I have time for one more ticker before I get started on the indices, commodities, crypto, movers and shakers of the day. Corin, awesome. Awesome. It's like every weekend I'm adding something to my repertoire or changing something technology-wise, and I fight it because I think I'm not good at it, but I end up figuring it out. So I just psych myself out for no reason. Bonjour. I said no reason. I'll tell you a joke and then I'll get started. One of my favorite comedians, and I can't remember her name, she was on Last Comic Standing, and she had me spit out my drink with one of her setups, or what do you call that? One of her sets. That's what they call it. One of her sets. She said that she was just in her office minding on her own business. She's like, and my boss just going to come in here for no reason and wake me up and fire me. And of course, it's not funny with me retelling it, but it was so ridiculous, hilarious. My boss just going to come in here and for no reason wake me up and fire me. The wake me up got me. Okay, so I'm going to wake you up right now. It's 8:30 Eastern. Let's get started. Good morning. This is who I am. I'm Chart Gal Lori. I'm part of the Chart Guys community, and we teach technical analysis. If you want to give me a follow on Twitter at Chart Gal Lori, I will not spam you too much. I promise. We've got a busy week ahead. Let's look at that calendar. We have CPI tomorrow. We have nothing scheduled for today, 2 or 3 star. He's just going to come in here and fire me, wake me up. Okay, I can't even tell the joke in the right order. I'm worse than my dad. You know, we got to know when we're like our parents. So tomorrow we have CPI, big data, big. Wednesday is PPI, but tomorrow is the big piece of data. We have FOMC next week. The data that comes out tomorrow would greatly influence Fed members next week. We would anticipate that it would influence them. So all eyes on CPI tomorrow, all eyes on XLF and its related names like KRE, the regional bank ETF. Nope, it wasn't Wanda Sykes. I love Wanda Sykes. I'll have to share it with y'all. I'll have to find it and share it. Oh, so good. All right, so economic calendar, CPI, that's what you need to know. Biden, it will be speaking this morning, important, and CPI tomorrow. And I bet it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out this table is going to be heavily loaded to the bears. 116 points on the bear side. We have lots of names with the hourly EMAs overhead. Dollar, I did not assign a value either bullish or bearish. I think it's a push because we've got some disconnects. we have correlations and causations that we follow in the market every single day, and we assume that we have an inverse correlation. When the dollar goes up, the market goes down, and that is more true than not. However, there are times like now when we have unknowns and we have volatility where things disconnect. And the US 10-year and the dollar have somewhat disconnected from the markets. So I'm not disregarding them, but I'm just making note of it. I'm not going to give it as much weight as I normally do. So if I had to say, gun to head, what's the most important chart of the week? It'd probably be no surprise if I pulled up QQQ daily. And this is it. You see this 50 and 200 MA simple moving average? Super important. It's at 289.57. We're going to want to keep a daily close above those key moving averages. QQQ is the only name still holding these averages. Let's go look at SPY. SPY's losing it. Lost it. Lost it. IWM. Lost it. Lost it. YM. Lost it. Lost it. Got it? QQQ. QQQ not only has to come in on a white horse and save the day, we need a cavalry. We need a full-blown cavalry from the QQQ. Apple and Microsoft and semiconductors, they need to start this market this morning like they're screaming and running like their heads cut off. They need to be running like crazy men. We need QQQ to lead the charge up to help offset this major XLF and XLV weakness. That's a lot to ask of one sector. If anybody can do it, it's QQQ. So I am looking at this chart. So let me go back to my table. Y'all know I like to highlight stuff here. I guess screaming like their hair's on fire is probably a better statement. So QQQ and Bitcoin, I am watching very closely. I think those two things are diverging from the bearish narrative as far as QQQ is green. We're holding the 50 and 200, and Bitcoin had a bullish weekend. There ain't nothing wrong with this 4-hour chart. Nada. Nadia Comaneci. There is nothing wrong with this chart. So Bitcoin is typically a risk-on asset. However, Bitcoin was made for issues like we're having with the banking system right now. Bitcoin, it is supposed to be alternative, and that's why gold is screaming. Gold and Bitcoin, we see assets shift into metals and to crypto when there is not a lot of confidence left in the banking system or dollar. I'm not saying there's not a lot of confidence left, but when we're starting to see cracks in the system, let's leave it at that. So we have two major items that I'm saying, all right, watch those. Don't get too overly bearish as long as QQQ is holding its key simple moving averages and Bitcoin has a pep in its step. Otherwise, everything else is looking bearish. When Med table, this is the market environment dossier table that I came up with, and it's just a whatever cutesy name that I came up with. Really doesn't mean a ton, but when this table is over 100, the name doesn't mean a ton, but the values give me a lot of perspective. I'm looking for reverse backburners. Reverse backburners are going to be my friend today in financials. If you don't have a system, well, I used to be part of Vistage, and it was a business group where we had peers and executives would get together once a month, and we would talk about our businesses. And we had people train us, said, hey, you need to come up with your 15-second elevator speech. You get on the elevator with someone and they say, what do you do for business? You should be able to tell them in 15 seconds, very succinctly, what your business is. And if you can't, how are you supposed to sell your business? And regardless if we're salespeople, we're always selling our business if we're a representative of said business. So you should be able to tell me your trading edge or system in 15 seconds. If we jump on the elevator today and you're like, oh gosh, Charkow Lori, how are you? And I'm like, okay, Topher, tell me what it is. What is your trading edge in 15 seconds or less? Could you do it? Lori, Nugget, could you do it? Awesome. You should be able to do it. If you can't, that means your system is not clearly defined and you need to work on it. So my system for today will be reverse backburners and names that saw outsized moves on Friday to the downside. I will be looking for dead cat bounces into 5 and 15 minute overbought conditions to look for a bearish placement trade. That the fishing hole will be financials and their weakness, my fishing pole will be reverse back burners. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Okay, no negative comments about Biden, please. Thank you. All right, and no spamming chat, please. All right, now let's go back and look at ES. Okay. All right, so ES, we started this morning with a daily double bottom. If you woke up like I did a few hours ago, you saw that we had a daily double bottom. We held that 3881, and now we've broken through that. So we've broken through the low of Friday. So that puts us in a gap situation. Market is down pre-market because XLF is weak. So SPY, we go mark off the low of Friday, 384.32. Y'all hang with me here. Hang with me. 384.32. Do you see it? That's the low of Friday. You see it in the light gray? That's the low. All right. So we're going to have gap rules in place when we open. If the market is unable to close the gap, fill the gap within 30 minutes, and that's just arbitrary. I just picked that, just saying it needs to happen shortly thereafter, after open. If that gap is not filled, that shows you how much the bears are in charge. Then the next small bounce, I will be looking for a top fish. If bulls are able to push it up, fill the gap, and re-enter Friday's range, that shows the bulls are taking back over, neutral to bullish. If the bulls are able to fill the gap and then that's it, they're not able to push over, and then the bears take back over, that's neutral to bearish. If they're unable to fill the gap at all and then they just roll over, that is uber bearish. And we've got some bear momentum. You saw that? We just dropped $1 right there, an absolute dollar, pretty quick to the downside. So I need to, okay. So gap rules are in place. Let's go look at QQQ. I'll say it again because I think it's good for us to have. Well, so QQQ is not gapping down right now. We're holding 287.38. That's good. That's a good sign. IWM is gapping down. So gap rules apply. 17426. If bulls are unable to fill that gap within 30 minutes, that shows the pure brute strength of the bears, and the bears are in charge. I know, Caesar, right? Okay, go back to ES. Structure is broken. Structure is broken on so many different levels on ES. We're still holding the weekly higher low at 378850. That'll be a key level going forward. However, bounces are for shorting. So first 15-minute overbought, 5-minute overbought should provide shorting opportunities. Look at was that overnight? Yeah, look at overnight, that 15-minute overbought. Look at that. Yeah, 113 point drop on ES from when we got 15-minute overbought. And I would say those trades are still in play with reverse back burners on all of these names that had outsized moves to the downside on Friday. NASDAQ, same thing. First 5 and 15-minute overbought should provide shorting opportunities. NASDAQ's holding up a little bit better than the others. Do y'all see our daily higher low? Excuse me, it's a lower low, but the daily low is still intact. 11832. ES, it is not. So, man, a lot of pressure riding on NQ. RTY, super weak. And if you trade futures, this may be your go-to for 15-minute and 5-minute overbought shorts because of the weakness. Okay. YM. Super weak. You see, we don't have the daily higher low, nor do we have the weekly higher low on YM. YM is super weak. Why? Why is YM super weak? Because it has big banks in it, and the big banks are really weighing on YM. So YM or RTY may be your areas, your indices to go to short overbought conditions for those reverse back burner. All right, if you're part of the swing report, you've seen me draw this. Let's see, load layout right here. This has been on my chart for months. You're probably sick of seeing it. Just real quick, I'll pull it up. I haven't adjusted these lines at all. I was talking about it last October. I was talking about it last May. These lines have been in play for a year, over a year, 14 months. They are being tested again. The more we test a trend line, the more we knock on it, the increases the probability we're going to get through it to the upside. So VIX has had this trend line in place, resistance, for over a year, and it's being tested again, and it is looking very vulnerable at the moment. So VIX is telling us the amount of fear we have in the market, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. There will be a shorting opportunity on VIX, but not right now. We're in the height of fear. US 10-year is down dramatically overnight. This is related to the dollar. This is related to banks. This is related to the entire banking situation. So we're down big and TLT is up big. Hang Seng was up overnight. DAX is down 2.65%. Yeah, nowhere to run for IWM, small banks, KRE. So DAX is down. It was down 3% earlier. It bounced a little bit. Now it's coming back down. So that is a weak canary for the market as well. Bitcoin. Let me go back to the daily. You see it ran into the daily 50 MA overhead. It didn't touch it, but it came close. 4 hour has plenty of room for that higher low. Where it gets set, nobody knows. Hourly, still healthy. It's downtrend, but knowing that 4 hours looking for a higher low, Bitcoin is not broken yet. Ethereum, hourly downtrend, but 4 hour looking for that higher low. The chart is not broken yet. Okay. 5 or 15 minute, Andre, either. Absolutely either. 15 minutes more reliable than 5 minute for reverse back burner, but I would use either. I think on names like FRC, this beat up so badly, a 5 minutes should work. Gold. Gold is screaming like its hair's on fire. It's over 1902.30. We've got assets shifting to crypto and to gold per the chart. Plenty of room for a daily higher low on the next bounce. 4 hour is overbought. But it's news. It's news related. Overbought doesn't matter. Market's still coming in pretty hard. I will look for small bounce once Biden starts speaking. I will be looking for a bounce, but I'm not going to front run it. I'm going to stair step it, and then I will play it accordingly. All right. Gold, no signs of stopping. Look at those hourly EMAs supporting price. No problem. All right. Oil is breaking down. We have lost the weekly support. We are in a weekly downtrend. Daily's not oversold. 4 hour approaching oversold. I don't think that it matters as much as well. This is also related to the dollar and the overall market. Bears will be looking for bounces to short 5 and 15 minute overbought conditions. Good morning, all, Nick. Nat gas. I saw this morning and I didn't comment on it. I feel like a loser because Dan commented on it. I always want to notice things because he notices the details, and I noticed it, but I just didn't have confidence in this potential falling wedge we had going on here. Man, the market's coming in pretty hard here. We had these 3 lower lows without a ton of follow through, but you see how the market's playing that yo-yo game, walk the dog, and they're just walking down price. I just don't see anything redeeming bullish wise about this chart. So the falling wedge just kind of had me skeptical of any type of bull trade. So the bull trade is possibly bottom fishing 2.405. If it breaks ever so slightly and then bounces, then you got more evidence of that potential falling wedge on a higher time frame. I don't like it. 15 minute lower high, the more likely scenario on a bounce. Nat gas is broken. It is broken. Look at that 15-minute overbought and that wonderful short opportunity. Apple. 147.34. We are dropping below Friday's low. Gap rules in play. We do have a gap down here at 146.71. That could be a magnet. So you heard it here first. Could be a magnet on Apple. That 146.71 gap. Gap rules are in play. Once we open, how fast these bulls are able to close the gap, if at all, gives us a ton of information. Amazon, well below Friday's low. I'm going to have to go put in my notes. By the way, I have notes off screen that I copy and paste for TCG members, but some of my notes now are dated. Dated since I typed them. If you're interested in my chart setup, you can click on the link below in the video description to receive a PDF explanation as to what is all of this on Lori's chart. 4 hour not oversold, daily downtrend. Weekly is looking for a higher low on Amazon. 4 hour oversold is typically a good area to look for that. However, I just don't know that we're going to get that today. Bounces are, I'd feel more comfortable shorting bounces than I would be buying dips. ES is oversold on hourly. Not very important with all of this bad news. Nvidia gapping below Friday's low. 22432 is your next support, and then you're down in gap fill territory. Gap is at 21104. Wouldn't surprise me at all if that got filled this week. Look at that beautiful rejection and then nosedive off the whatever meter board. This is like the diving board, and the bulls just jumped off. What a bearish look when semis look this week. Tesla gapping below Friday's low. Gap rules in play. Daily 50 MA at 16677. Okay, I know there's a lot of lines on my chart, but look down here, y'all. These are all the gaps below on Tesla. And I'm sure there are other gaps below $100, but do I think $114 is going to get filled anytime soon? No, doesn't mean it can't. So just know that we have some gaps below that could serve as magnets on Tesla. I like the daily 50 MA being below. I would like to play Tesla long, but I'm not going to look for any longs as long as the market is this week. This will be my main instrument today, FRC. I've already traded it 3 or 4 times this morning. This is a regional bank that's got a lot of fear built in due to SIVB bank failure. So I heard on CNBC that JPM gave or funded FRC for liquidity $70 billion. But I couldn't find the news headline itself. So I just saw it on CNBC and they mentioned it. So verify that yourself. This name is going to provide a ton of trading opportunity. You can use EQs, stair steps, back burners, whatever your edge is to trade this to the upside, to the downside. It will be super volatile. Have a plan. It can go against you and go against you hard. Okay. I lost my chat. Bailouts are words that are somewhat overused. I would just know that the depositors, the people who had money in that bank, in these small banks, they're the ones the government is out to protect. It isn't the shareholders. So First Republic Bank, the FDIC could step in there and make all of their customers whole, all of their depositors, but not their shareholders and debtors. They're still in trouble. So just remember the stock price could still be impacted even though the government is helping in some way. So this is not a government bailout. This is what banks pay insurance to FDIC for them to do. They pay them to insure deposits. So the government is just doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's not a bailout per se yet. KRE. This will be the gift of all gifts on back burners. So I'm going to go set my alert. I'm going to short this or look for a potential short. I'll have to assess it at the time. What's going on? Is Biden talking? Once per bar, tell me, because this is going to give a lot of opportunity, I think. Dead cat bounces are for shorting in these super weak names. KRE is the regional bank ETF. I'm looking for reverse backburner trade setups on KRE and XLF. And I will be trading FAS and FAZ for XLF trades. That is leveraged. Don't trade it leverage unless you know how it works. Roku. I like Roku short. It's already down $2 since I liked it short. Roku has a lot of exposure to SIVB. It has a lot of deposits there. So, and I didn't like the chart here on the daily. We have this gap below at 56.96 I was targeting. We're almost there. I think a bounce would be for shorting on Roku. Dan is looking for a long on XBI, a potential long, not guaranteed, for a pullback compared to 73.87 for a potential buy. I won't be taking that trade if the market is super weak like it has been so far this morning. I won't be taking that trade. Okay. All right, I think that's all I had for y'all. Good morning, visuals. Hey, Tess, thank you for that. Good, good. FJB. I would say, okay, that didn't work. I would say that oil already got that breakdown. It's already gotten its key breakdown. It lost weekly support. Where's oil? Here. Yeah, it's already lost key support. All right, it's 6:53. I'll take a look at Netflix and then I'll wrap it up. You've been short since 3:20. It's gapping below Friday's low, so I would just watch those gap rules. If it's unable to fill the gap back up to 289 and it rolls over, you just continue with your short. Keep living your good luck, best life. All right, y'all have a great day and use stop losses.